Gonna come for having number 2. We're waiting on Instagram. Alright. So normally on Come for Having number 2, I would do monologue Mondays. Okay, so true confession time. My wrist has been spraying for a couple of days since the last time I did bound fighting with the handcuffs. I did find my belt, so we will not be using handcuffs anymore. But before I make a kung fu video about that, if I choose to do that, because I really don't feel like doing anything tonight, and plus it's Monologue Monday. So I'm going to skip Monologue Monday tonight, and I will make Monologue Monday up to you guys here on YouTube. This is for Instagram. First, shout out to my bro Mario, who's going through some shit. But we're all going through some shit. So, in light of recent events, I'm going to talk about misdirected anger. So there will be no martial arts as of this moment for Kung Fu Having number 2 or Instagram. Tonight we're going to talk about misdirected anger, and we have until midnight. When my alarm goes off, I'm done talking. Alright? So I'm going to make this an hour video if possible, unless I get my point across, and I'm going to be done. So misdirected anger is a thing. Alright? And there's a lot of it going around, especially in the form of hating toward Asian Americans. That is really bad, and it's misdirected anger. But this misdirected anger is the shit that keeps coming up across my phone on News Now. News Now is like a big red N on my phone, and it pops up. So a lot of misdirected anger is coming off about Sharon Osbourne and Piers Morgan. I guess that's his name. Alright, look. Let me tell y'all something. There's not a human being on this earth, no matter what your race is, that doesn't know somebody who is in their race who is just straight fucking racist. Alright? So here's the misdirected anger. A lot of people are angry at Meghan Markle for saying that somebody in the royal family is a racist. Alright, well, here's the thing. You and somebody you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody is a fucking racist. Whether they will admit it or not, you will never know, because the fact of the matter is that you and me and everyone on social media and everyone around the world only know maybe 5% of the people that we think we know. Alright? For instance, nobody ever thought that the subway guy, Jared, would ever be arrested for what he was arrested for. If y'all don't know what he was arrested for, go Google it, because I don't try to do none of that shit here. Most people let Trump slide with a lot of racist shit towards Asians. You know, a lot of us just let shit slide. You know, a lot of people agree with some of the shit that he says. And like I said, and I'll say this 1,000 more times before I die, you don't know shit about your best friend except for what they allow you to know. If your best friend's a serial killer, he's not going to tell you. Just out of the simple fact that he may be afraid that you may go tell the cops. But if you're truly his best friend, you probably won't. And that's the clusterfuck that is. The misdirected anger towards Sharon Osbourne for defending Piers Morgan, is that his name? It's just upsetting me that this shit is still something that people are still arguing about till this day. Alright? This shit's like almost a month old. My dad has been dead for 6 years. No one's talking about it. Brandon Lee has been dead for 28 years, and he died when he was 28 years old. No one's really talking about it. A lot of Asian hate going on, and people are talking about it, but they're not talking about it. A lot of people right now are lined up their phones and their TVs right now at this moment to wait for tomorrow to see how the George Floyd murder case is going to go. A lot of misdirected anger in that. No. Here's my thing. We as people, we are an emotionally charged creature. This is what sets us apart from most of the lower level species on the planet, is that we lead by our emotions. And sometimes and I'm going to be wrong for saying this, sometimes our emotion gets the better of us, which leads us to do ignorant shit. Like not walking away from a fight. Did you know you can win? And instead you just decide to punch whoever's pissing you off in the mouth. Am I guilty of that? I would probably say so. Without confessing to that shit, I would say I was guilty of that. But there's always going to be someone who you're going to want to punch in the mouth. And sometimes you can't beat that person, so you take your misdirected anger out on someone who's done absolutely nothing to you. Alright? I'll give you another example. You guys here on my Instagram don't really insult me, where certain people on my YouTube channel insult the shit out of me. Now, I have a lot of misdirected anger. However, I have learned that clapping back, or snapping back, or whatever the hell you young people call it, doesn't change how this person feels towards me. However, I don't have to let my feelings about that shit lead my day. Alright? I really don't. And this is where we have misdirected anger. There's a lot of misdirected anger in my family that I have suffered from. You know, because of people screwed up their lives, so their lives bleed into my life and screws up my life. Which is why I had to shoot videos at nighttime, because of lack of responsibilities. Now, if anybody has the right to be angry, it's me. Because I never got the chance to live my life because I was too busy taking care of other people's responsibility. This is not misdirected anger. This is straight fucking anger. Because when I look in the mirror, but when I cry myself asleep tonight knowing that I could have done so much better in the 40 years that got past me had I learned how to say the magical word no. Had I left when I had the chance. Had I done what was right for me versus what's right for my family, maybe I'd actually have children, a wife, and a home of my own. But no. You know, I didn't do that. And some people, and don't counsel me for this, because some people have told me this, and it pisses me off because they can't all be right. This is the two things they told me. And this reflects religion. So if you are religiously sensitive, you can stop watching right now and go away. Because this is what the two things that people who are all about God are always telling me. Now don't get me wrong, I believe in God. But you tell me right here, right now, what the fuck a reward did is going to do me while I'm alive suffering. Because they're always saying, God's going to reward you when you die. For all the sacrifices you've made over the 40 years of your life that has gotten past you due to other people's misgivings and misdirected anger and not having plans before they do things that is not very biblically becoming. You tell me why people keep telling me God's going to reward me when I die. Why do I have to die to receive a reward that I deserve while I'm alive? When I'm dead, nothing's going to matter. Nothing. I also will be trying to attempt to post my Remember Me song tonight as well. When I'm dead, I might not even be remembered. Unless some lucky or unlucky, depending on how you look at it, fortunate person stumbles across these archives, which we call videos, 20 years from now, when I'm gotten one foot in the urn, or maybe 60 years from now. 60 plus 47 is 100 and some change. I don't think I'm going to make it that far. But in the events that I do, yippee-ki-yay. Now the second thing that people are always telling me, which I often want to slap them in the face for, because it also reflects on God. And they're always saying, God has placed you exactly where you need to be. Because it's working out for everybody except for you. And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking with my misdirected anger, I should punch you in the mouth. I have gone as far as to say that the next person that tells me God is going to reward me when I die, I'm going to knock their teeth down their throat and ask them how that reward looks to them. Because they're not in my shoes. They're not suffering like I'm suffering. They have the life that they want, but I don't. And a lot of people who have the life that they want that are kin to me don't seem to understand how much it hurts that You're smiling in my face and you're living the life you want, but I'm taking care of your lack of responsibilities. I'm taking care of things that I should have never had to take care of in the first place because of our parents' lack of responsibilities. And no one seems to think that this shit is not okay. Oh, there's a reason why they don't think that, because it's working for them. So when someone tells me God is going to reward you when you die, you can call it misdirected anger. I'm going to call it just desserts when I'm slamming my fist through someone's goddamn throat. And my other favorite, you are right where God wants you to be so that you can help everyone else, but you can't help yourself. You would think that people who believe in God would also believe in the philosophy of that God wants us all to be happy. Not everyone in the universe, except one man. Me. So you would think that that would be something that people would take into consideration before they open up their damn mouth with God has you right where you need to be, or God's going to reward you when you die. Now, misdirected anger can go in many different directions. It can go in many, many different directions, and many different things can happen during misdirected anger. Misdirected anger can wind up putting you in the hospital. Misdirected anger could wind up putting your ass in the grave. How you deal with your anger reflects who you are as a person. It takes everything I have, and I mean this all-heartedly. It takes everything I have, every fiber in my being, to keep these things here, right here. Because here's the thing about being 5'3", and before anybody says I have a Napoleon complex, fuck Napoleon. I was taller than Napoleon, I think. And if I wasn't taller than Napoleon, I can still go back in time and beat his little French ass and bury my boot up his ass. Because I know Kung Fu and Napoleon does not. Anyway, when you are on the outside looking in, it's always easy to give direction. But it's not easy to see the other person's point of view because their life that they're living doesn't affect you directly. Now, the reason why I'm writing this why I'm making this video and this live stream is because a friend of mine sent me something and I want to guide him as best I can because it's hard as hell not to punch people. Literally, it is hard as hell to not punch people. And though punching people will make me feel very good, not as good as kicking someone in the throat, but, that would be wrong. Also illegal. So, I have to fade back. I have to resist these urges of my own misguided direction of anger. Alright? Totally misspoke there. But I do have to watch myself. Because if I don't, I'm going to lose my freedom. And nothing is more important to me than my freedom. Because I like being able to make videos. I go to jail, I don't get no phone call. I damn sure won't have a cell phone. And I damn sure won't be able to do Instagram or TikTok until I'm released. If I hurt someone, maim someone, or unfortunately beat them to death, I will never see the light of day. Ever the hell again. So I have to control my misdirected anger. So whenever I make a Kung Fu video or when I'm throwing mad kicks, I channel my anger into my training. And you could go as far as to say that, to quote Dragon Ball Z, I am a rageaholic. The angrier I get, the better I get. So if I get pissed off while I'm fighting and a smile comes across my face, to quote the people from Reboot, you should probably run really, really fast. The good news is you can outrun me now because I had hip replacement and the doctor said under no circumstances whatsoever am I supposed to be doing anything outside of a brisk jog. Yay. That means there'll be a lot of people that can piss me off and outrun me. Unless they're in striking distance. And if they're in striking distance, well, there will not be any misdirected anger. There will just straight be rage to your cage. Your rib cage. And if I can't reach your rib cage, well, then I'm just going to put boots to ass. Because my arms are too short to box with a guy. But my legs are about the right size. Now, don't take that in the wrong way or the literal sense. Because I plan on using that in a film. I may have used it in a film. I'm saving that line for a feature film if I'm lucky enough to get people to be in it, and if I'm lucky enough to get this machine to edit it. Which, by the way, update, I will start editing my Scarlet Spider fan film this weekend. I'm going to try and start on Thursday, depending on my homework on Wednesday, because I would like to actually graduate from college this time around and get that shit out the way. Now, let's talk real shit about misguided anger. Misguided anger is one of these things that everyone has within them. Some of us are calm, cool, and collected. Some of us are not. If you are not calm, cool, and collected, I'm going to give you a couple of tips to help you out. Alright? Because it helps me out. Train and train a lot. When I make these non-scene YouTube videos in IGTV, I don't know who sees it. But when I'm training, or if I'm giving you a martial art test, or a lecture, if I'm doing Kung Fu, or Wing Chun, which is what you was just looking at, they kind of roll in the same circle. If I'm doing that, I'm putting my anger into that. And now, as you understand, anger is very powerful. So if I'm throwing a small snap, but I'm loaded with anger, it's more than likely whoever I hit is going to hurt. Alright? It doesn't take much with this waist and your torquing punch. You know your targets. A lot of people like to hit people in the face when they're angry. I don't prefer to do that. I don't need to piss you off so that you can't go down. I need to hit you hard enough that when you go down, you're going to stay down. So if I boom and hit you in your solar plexus and you fold over like a piece of paper, I got options now. So you're folded over, I can grab the back of your head, bam! And I'm going to probably knee you dead in the forehead. I'm going to do everything I can to put you down in 5 or 6 moves or less because I'm old as hell and I like to keep the breath in my chest. So I'm going to hit you and I'm going to hit you again. So if I fold you over, I already got you where I need you. And that means you're going to get kneed in the face. But if I fold you and you fall back, then a Kung Fu or a Wing Chun low kick to kick your shin so you're on one foot. Then I can move in and strike again. And if I decide to use a judo throw, I can judo throw you. I just solved some of my misdirected anger. But you can't do that to people in real life because you're probably going to kill them or you're going to go to jail. Both of them are double negatives, so you kind of really don't want to be in that situation. But when you are training, use the Ghost Man technique. Alright, so however many people here, minus whoever's going to be seeing this on YouTube, if you have not heard of the Ghost Man technique or Ghost Man training, this is more of a Shaolin Chinese Kung Fu type thing. I don't know about it being for Taekwondo because I never got past the white belt of Taekwondo because even though I could fight, I couldn't do ice cream scoop. You know, that one kata where you're here and then you're here, yeah. But you're making a fucking Star of David versus Tosan where it's like 1, 2, punch, block, some shit, punch, block, and you're doing a cross, you know, because you're like 3 steps forward, then doing 3 steps forward, then you stop, and you go left, and you take 3 steps, and you do some other shit, and you go right, and you take 3 steps. Yellow belt requirement number 1 for your 7th degree black belt. Don't ask me why, I meant to say 7th degree yellow belt. But I could never do katas because I was never taught katas until I took Taekwondo. Alright? Now, as far as fighting, I can give you one fact for sure. This is my belt. It's not a black belt. It's not a black belt in martial arts. This belt just holds up my pants. That's it. And for all the black belts out there that are hot shit, good for you. You know, you're only hot shit when you're in the dojo. Try to remember that because the fact of the matter is that 70-30 is a thing. Anybody here on Instagram that does not believe that, well, I got good news and bad news. The good news is, I don't give a damn if you believe it or not. The bad news is, you can learn the easy way or the hard way that 70-30 is real shit. Understand that. I'm not saying this because no one's giving me a chance. The UFC never gave me a chance. ISK never gave me a chance. Rec never gave me a chance. Because all that shit's true. None of them gave me a chance. But the problem is really simple. See, street fights don't count if nobody sees them. And when I was street fighting, I was 6 years old until I was 12 years old. So they don't count at all. And no one here gives a shit. Alright? That's pretty much the truth. No one here gives a shit. Yeah, James used to fight when he was a kid in the streets. Yes, James did. Does anybody know or give a shit? No, because none of the people that I fought when I was 12 are going to pop back up on my fucking Instagram and say, yeah, I know that little guy. He whooped my ass. No one's going to do that. Because no one wants to admit that they lost the fight. Where, on the other hand, the only person who's ever whooped my ass was my big sister. And the windmill is a fucking thing. I'm not ashamed to say I got my ass kicked by a girl. She's my big sister. That's why I'm fucking tough as nails, because I got my ass kicked by a girl. Now, I don't hit girls unless they have something in their hands, because then they're no longer women, they are people. But, you know, that's a whole nother ballgame. I got a lot of misdirected anger, but I don't take it out on the people who did not anger me. That's why it would be misdirected anger. Now, when I train in the Ghost Man technique, when you see my videos and I'm here and then I'm here, it's because in the Ghost Man technique, however many enemies you think you can handle at one time is the fucking shadow boxing that you're going to do. If you think in real life that you can handle 6 people at once, then you fire off in 6 different directions as many times as you can until your body won't allow you to do it. If you think you can only take out 2 people in your lifetime, then you do that, and so on. Now, let me be perfectly fucking clear. If you've never been jumped in your lifetime, remember that you are Ghost Man training. If you have been jumped in your lifetime, you already know the deal. You already know the deal. I've been jumped twice in my lifetime, and once on the job. I've never been jumped since that shit. I've won both times. I understand how this works. Actually, I've been jumped probably more than 1 or 2 times, to tell you the truth. Because I know I got into a tussle when I was 15, where I got jumped by 4 guys at once, and that was where we was playing, but then the shit got real. So, you know, and then I got jumped after that, and then I got jumped on my job. So, yeah, if you haven't been jumped in real life, you know, Ghost Man training is great for that shit, but it ain't the same as getting jumped in real life. Because in real life, when you get jumped, people actually hit you. Ghosts can't hit you. Alright, not in the skill set that you're training for. We tend to forget that everyone has an opinion. We tend to forget that everyone has feelings. We tend to forget that we are not the only living beings on the planet, and that some people unintentionally say shit that will piss you off. How you deal with that is what makes you a very strong person or a very weak person. I would like to think that I am strong, but sometimes I feel that I am weak. It's the yin-yang theory. Because some opinions aren't worth wasting my time. For instance, the whole shit about the royals having some racist people in the family. Let me explain why that's a waste of my time versus how I feel towards people who are hating Asian people. It's a waste of my time because I've already been Little Harry and Little Meghan's son. I've been him for 40-something damn years, and I'll be him until the day I fucking die. Because somewhere along the line, I'm going to bump into somebody who may be black, who may be white, who may be Asian, and say, you're not really one of us. You're a half-breed. You're not pure blood. So, I already know. Do I give a damn what royal person said that? No, because the royals are fucking human beings too. Alright? And if one of the royals wants to be a racist, who the hell am I to tell the motherfucker that he can't? Now, the part where Miss Osborne, who I adore, and Mr. Morgan, who I could give 2 shits about, come into play is really quite simple. I think she just lost her fucking job. And it's really not worth it. It's like the same people who will fire you for making a TikTok, even though you do your job, because your TikTok might have been a little lewd. You might have had your thong on, and you might have been sitting on the copy machine, and then you come back to work on Monday, and they give you your goddamn walking papers because you was a little tipsy. But you also probably shouldn't have been posting this shit up on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube and that shit in the first place, because you know that if you're not working for yourself, you have to be careful at what you do on your jobs. Because a lot of jobs don't want any association with anything foul. Like, for instance, when we had the incident here in Charlottesville in 2017, lots of motherfuckers who went to the racist rally of the alt-right, I think is what they call. A lot of those guys lost their jobs. A lot of those guys lost their jobs. The guys walking through the university with the blowtorches, the flamethrowers, or whatever the fuck that shit was, the tiki torches. And they were hollering, Jews won't replace us, or some other racist bullshit that was coming out their mouth. A lot of those guys are jobless. And a lot of those guys will never, ever be able to work a normal job again. So, you know, if you had like a 9 to 5 where you were making like $15 an hour and you were one of those guys with those tiki torches, and you got back to your boss, like, no, man, we don't play that racist shit around here. You know, you might have been a good worker, but we don't play that racist shit around here. You're fired. Now you got to go find some farmhand job, because they may be the only people who will take you due to the fact that all you're going to do all day is lift barrels of hay. You're not going to get that $15 an hour, but you're going to get something. You know, it's not worth it. It's not worth losing your job over. Your personal feelings need to stay at work. Or if you're going to have an Instagram or YouTube or whatever, and you want your personal shit, here's a tip. Put your personal videos on private. The shit where you're like calling black people bad words, or Asian people bad words, or white people bad words, put that shit on private. I am here to make kung fu movies. I'm here to be entertaining. I am here to voice my opinion. However, if you've been on YouTube, or if you just found me on Instagram, then you ought to know I'm going to give you 99.9. And you're not going to like that shit. I try not to use the N-word. I definitely try not to use the derogative words for white people. I try not to use any derogative words for Asian people. I personally don't have the right to be a racist because I am black, Native American, and white. You guys on YouTube already know my damn story. I have a crush on a Chinese girl. Enough said. Maybe I'll go this way because it might actually look like a fucking Z when you guys see it. Now, I would love to be with her more than anything in this world. And hopefully God will make that happen. But right now, this video isn't about me or her. It's about Misdirected Anger. The fact that I brought up Miss Osborne and Mr. Morgan again, because I'm totally angry about this whole clusterfuck that's happening. We as people have to understand it. People are going to say shit that's going to piss us off. And there ain't a damn thing we can really do about it, because physically, if you punch somebody in the face, no matter how good you will feel about it today, somewhere down the line, you could have two things happen. They can press charges and have your ass arrested, or you're going to piss somebody off, and karma's going to strike you, and you're going to get punched in the face. Alright? As a person who's been punched in the face a few times, I will give you the personal tip that that shit sucks. Alright? Being punched in the face is not like in the movies where you take one and then you give one back, or you take one and you keep taking them. You know, because sometimes if you take one and your eyes go to sleep, you ain't going to know what's happening if you survive until you wake the fuck up. If you wake the fuck up. So, you know, you have to control your misdirected anger. I'm probably not the best guy to ever give anybody advice. I've had mental health issues. May still have mental health issues. But I have learned how to deal with it, and especially my misdirected anger. I generally put all my misdirected anger into my kicks. So when I say I'm going to paintbrush you, I just pretend you're somebody that I can't stand. Boom, boom. And then I just keep going. You know? If I really don't like you, I put my anger into a reverse tornado kick. That sucked. I'm in a little pain from last night. But, you know, it is what it is. My wrist is sprained, so there's no weapons. But when I put my anger into my training, it helps me with my misdirected anger. I can only tell each and every one of you that if you have anger issues, first, a lot of us can't afford help. Luckily for me, I was in the service, so if I make the right phone call, I can get some help. Thank you, Dr. Bishop, by the way. Shout out to my doctor. Now, For those who cannot afford health care or mental health advice and protection, I will tell you another advice. Write your feelings down. You don't have to share them with anybody. You don't have to tell anybody. Just go sit off in a corner. Get out your little ballpoint pen. I prefer Pilot. I use Pilot. Just write them down. Everything. And it doesn't even have to be neat. Jumble the paper all the fuck up. You know? And if you live in the country and there's no fire ordinance, write down shit every day. At the same time every day. Put it in your burn barrel and burn that shit. You will be amazed at how this shit feels when you write all your feelings down and burn the shit in a burn barrel. You'll be amazed at how much that shit feels. How exhilarating it feels to say, I hate this person, I hate this person, I hate this person. And write that shit like 25,000 times and put that shit on fire. Because you're killing that person in your head without legally killing that person. That's another thing that I've done. I can only tell you the things that I've done. I can't tell you what to do. I can't guide you down the path that you must take. Only you can guide yourself. But I can give you the things that I've done. You got a heavy bag? Drip that bitch over your wall. Boom, 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 boom. Just go to town on that bag. Careful not to jam your wrist. Be very careful of the things you do. If I go to my bro's house, he has a heavy bag. Not my biological brother, but my brother A-Dog, he has a heavy bag. So when I get angry and I go down there, he's got gloves. I can take the gloves to the damn bag. He's got a bag that's heavy enough, it's hanging from the ceiling, where I can level that bitch with some kicks. Boom! I can do that. I have shin guards, so I can put them on, and I can go to town on this goddamn fence. On this goddamn bag. You have to understand, you got to be able to control your anger. Most of us can to an extent. But when you can't, and it's misdirected, then you need to redirect it. And by redirecting it, find an activity to put your anger in. If you are angry and you don't have any martial art training, but you can run, take a 2-mile run. A mile out, mile back. 2-mile run. Or take a half a mile run. Half a mile out, half a mile back. Go on a fucking nature walk. Get to know yourself. Because the first thing that you have to understand to control your misdirected anger is that you have to know what pisses you the fuck off. Because if you don't know what pisses you off, you won't be able to control your anger. True confession time. There's almost nothing that doesn't piss me off. And in fact, I think I stay angry 24 hours a day. I think that if I stop being angry, that I might actually drop dead. I'm angry right now. You can't tell that because I'm in control of my rage and my anger. But to make sure that you understand, when you see me working out, when you see me making videos and coming up with combinations, it's because I'm training and getting that anger out of my system. Like I said, I will teach you some righteously nasty shit because of the simple fact that I'm angry. I'm limited on my motions thanks to my hip replacement. So how I can roll this knee this way, I can't do that so much with this leg. It still hurts when I use this motherfucker. And I'm 5 years into this damn thing, starting my 6th year in like a couple of weeks. Because I got the replacement before my dad died. So yeah, I'm about 5-6 years in. Anyway, there are some things now I can no longer do with this leg. I have to accept that. So if I get into a fight tomorrow, I have to end this fight fucking quickly. Because I know that this leg does not function like it used to. If you go to Kung Fu Havoc number 1, you will see the difference between me now and me then. If you go ahead and get a side-by-side of Kung Fu Havoc 1 and 2 and you sit there and you play both of them side-by-side, you'll see that in my 20s and 30s, I moved a lot better then than I do now. However, when you look at my moves now, you'll see that they're still there. They're just not as fast as they were in my 20s and my 30s. Now, I'm in my 40s. I'm almost 50 years old. I still can roll with you young bucks, but I know something you don't know. I know patience. I know distance. I know that I need to end the fight as quickly as I can because you guys are going to play with your food. Alright? You don't understand that because you're probably not a martial artist, so let me break that down for you. A young cocky guy wants to tease. He wants to jab, he wants to play, he wants to make that fight last. He wants to see how good he truly is, and by doing so, he gets overzealous. One wrong step and his overzealous ass gets knocked on his ass. So when you're fighting somebody, and especially if you're fighting someone who has more experience than you, you cannot be playing with them. And if you're fighting someone who doesn't have more experience than you, I say again, you should not be playing with them. See, fighting experience is everything in a fight. If you've never been in a fight, you can get lucky. You can beat the best fighter on the planet at least one time. But I guarantee you, you won't beat that motherfucker a second time if you don't kill him the first time. Because you don't understand what you've done. You lit a fire under him that can't be extinguished. I learned this about myself when I lost a sparring match. And this guy refused to spar with me again. He would never fight me back. He would never do anything. I would beg this motherfucker for ass whipping. Literally like, man, you beat my ass before. You should be able to do it again. He knew he couldn't beat me. Then we got into a confrontation at my cousin's funeral, which he threatened to fight me again. And my dumbass waited outside from 5 p.m. to midnight. And he never showed up to fight me because he knew this time the fight was going to be real. He also knew that this time I wasn't going to be playing with his ass to please a crowd that wanted him to whoop my ass. You understand? I had more directed anger this time. There's a big difference when you learn where you fucked up at versus you don't give a damn and you think that you can't fuck up. Well, sure as in real life we used to have these kind of phones, these rotary things, something some of you have probably never seen before. We've had 3 of them in our house at 811 E Hardy Drive. You can't take anything for granted, and you need to learn that misdirected anger is bad. So you need to learn how to direct your anger. You need to learn how to control your anger. I need to learn how to find a way to wave at y'all without pushing buttons that's going to fuck shit up. But, the thing is, if you're going to be angry, first and foremost, before you go any further in life, weigh your consequences. Yeah, I'm sure you were thinking pros and cons. No. Weigh your consequences. Because your pros is only one thing going to come out of your anger towards another person. Satisfaction of you beating their ass. Satisfaction is a fading thing. You're going to beat the crap out of somebody. You're going to jab them. You're going to uppercut them. You're going to goom boom. You're going to jab them again. And you're going to whip their ass. You have not changed their opinion on you. And every time you see them, you're probably going to get angry because they're still going to have a smile on their face. And if they see you after you whip their ass, it'll probably be from a jail cell because I'm pretty sure they're going to press charges on you and then you're going to be fucked. So you don't want to do that. But you need to weigh your consequences. Because your pros, it's only one positive out of that. I beat his ass. I feel real good about that shit. 2 hours later, you ain't going to be feeling all that great when they got you the bracelets. Now you're going to be sitting there looking stupid. And I'll be the first to tell you, it's hard as fuck to walk away from a fight. Same thing I tell my nephews, it's easy to talk your way into a fight. It's not so easy to talk your way out. We have reached the time. And I'm going to have to break my word and keep going. Just to end this on a positive note. If you're one of those people who can talk but can't fight, my advice is to always keep your mouth shut. If you're one of those people who can fight but don't know how to talk, you may want to learn how to talk. It has helped me a lot to actually learn how to talk to people because sometimes it's really just a misunderstanding and it's not no misdirected anger. It's just that shit got twisted somewhere. And now if y'all sit down and talk like men, y'all might be able to solve the problem on common ground that does not involve fisticuffs. However, if I said something to you, I'm more than likely meant to say that shit. You know. So what happens after that is going to be as much my fault as it's going to be the guy who decides that he wants to punch me in the face. However, he didn't think the consequences through. Because there's another consequence that I didn't add until now. And that consequence is, what if you lose? What if in your attempt to kick somebody's ass, you get your ass kicked? See, nobody weighs that consequence. Because the only consequence I told you was, you beat this guy's ass, you're going to go to jail. I didn't tell you the truth that, you know, not only can you beat this guy's ass, but what happens if the shoe's on the other foot and he beats yours? All over misdirected anger. So sometimes it helps to talk shit out. Now, if you have a problem with somebody and it's a personal beef, find out what caused the personal beef. And if y'all can squash it, you're grown-ass men. If you can't squash it, it doesn't make you any less grown-ass men. It just makes you subject to some really fucked up ass shit that's gonna happen. And when it goes down, you'll have nobody to blame but yourself, as will the guy that you fight. At the end of the fight, no one's taller than the last man standing. So if you're fighting a guy and you win, you're taller than him, but you're not gonna be taller than the police officer that comes and arrests you for assault. Is it worth it? No. Now, I make movies because they make me happy. I like fighting in the movies. I like fighting in real life. But I also know that fighting in real life comes with consequences. There's really only two of them that works against me. One, I don't want my ass whooped, which is why I'm not going to play with a person if they come to fight me. And two, I love my fucking freedom, yo. Ain't nothing more important to me than being able to get up every day, wash my ass when I feel like it, eat what I feel like it, versus living in a 4x4x4 and having them tell me, Mr. Williams, here's your potatoes. Mr. Williams, here's your bologna sandwich. Mr. Williams, lights out. Mr. Williams, you can't make this phone call. Mr. Williams, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't see that, you can't have conjugal visits. Mr. Williams, you should have thought about that before you beat that guy to death. Gotta weigh your consequences. And the reverse side of that is, Mr. Williams, we're going to put this tube down your chest so that you can be breathing. Because the guy that you fought shot you. Mr. Williams, we're going to replace half of your liver because there was extensive damage. And yes, your liver's on this side, just in case anybody wanted to catch that. You know, Mr. Williams, you lost an eye because the guy you fought did some fucking Kill Bill shit and snatched your eye and left it on the ground. He also stepped on it, so now you don't have an eye. You know, Mr. Williams, all of your teeth have been knocked out of your mouth because you ran your mouth to the wrong motherfucker, and his fist we had to surgically remove from your mouth to save your life. Consequences, man. Do not let your misdirected anger lead you to the hospital or to the morgue or to jail. It's the best I can give you. But at the same time, I'll be the biggest hypocrite on that shit because I'm 47 years old and I'm 5'3". The difference maker is I'm 5'3". Wherever I go, I am a target. Whatever room I walk into, I'm a target. Whatever sexy girl I'm looking at, that probably belongs to somebody who's like 6'2" or something, I am their target. I don't even know that's their girlfriend, but I am their target. Because somewhere along the line, they're probably bumping to me and say, I saw you looking at my girl, slick. What am I supposed to do? I can reply with, well, that's what my eyes are for. I can reply with, yeah, I looked at her. Big fucking deal. She's sleeping with you. She's sleeping with me. I don't even know the girl. But some people can't take honesty like that. They will believe what they want in their delusional ass mind, and then they'll want to fight. And in that case, the pro is, I'm going to have to hurt this motherfucker really, really fucking badly. Over a girl that I didn't even fucking consider that she would even consider sleeping with me. No. I'm not the prettiest man. No. But at that same time, jealousy is a thing. Jealousy also leads to misdirected anger. These are a few things you need to understand. If you are a jealous person, don't take this the wrong way. I want to end this video really, really soon. But if you are a jealous person, this is the most important part of this video. You can take this with a grain of salt, or you can take this shit with 550 cord. If you are a jealous person, you shouldn't be in any relationship. I'm sorry. I probably just pissed all of y'all off. If you are a jealous person, you shouldn't be in any relationships. Now let me explain my theory on that. See, I'm not so much of a jealous person because every relationship I've been in, I've dated cheaters. Except my last one. We don't really know what the fuck went wrong with that because she won't woman up and tell me. But that was like 11 years ago, so it ain't even worth me fucking wasting my time trying to worry about it anymore. But now I'm very cautious when I date women. I'm always up for it and honest, and I'm a one-woman man. I will never cheat on you. But if you're going to cheat on me, you need to be woman enough to tell me. You know, if you don't want to be with an honest man, I'm not the guy for you. If you don't want to be with a man who's not afraid to commit, who can love you for the rest of your life, I'm not the guy for you. Because one, I'm not a very pretty man. Girls are never going to throw themselves at me. Even when I get famous, they're not going to throw themselves at me and be, let's Tom Jones James. Let's take our panties off and throw them at James. That shit ain't going to happen to me on my wildest goddamn dreams. Alright? Never going to happen. But if I get in a stable relationship, you better believe two things is going to happen. One, I'm going to love the girl forever. And two, I'm never going to cheat on her because I've been cheated on one too many times before. I'd have to be drugged the fuck up to cheat. There's good news in that, ladies. James doesn't do drugs. Might have a sip of alcohol or two, but I don't do enough of it that I would be so discombobulated that I would fucking cheat. And besides that, a lot of the girls just view me as ugly. I don't think I'm that bad, even though I was burnt off my face. But, you know, it's very hard to find someone that's trustworthy in the world today. I got catfished once by a chick that I thought was going to marry me from the Philippines. So, I'm very cautious now. I have trust issues, but I don't let the trust issues rule me. I have anger issues, but I don't let the anger issues rule me. And this is where that misdirected anger needs to be coming in for all of you. You can be angry. You can be full of rage. But you can't let that shit lead your ass to jail or the morgue or the hospital. You know who you are. And if you don't know who you are, then you need to learn who you are. So please, for the love of all God, and if anything else, for the love of yourself, check your misguided anger. Make sure that you place your training above all else so that when you get angry, you put that shit into the bag. Leave that shit on the mat when you leave the room. Leave that shit in the gym when you leave the gym. If you gotta lift weights and you lift weights angrily, lift them weights angrily. But be careful, because weights are dangerous. If you punching bags and you training in all kinds of martial arts, leave that shit in the ring. Leave that shit on the mat. When you go home, be calm, cool, and zen like a motherfucker. I thank you guys for watching. This is Kung Fu Habit number 2 and Instagram. Be